Well, we've got a jam-packed call tonight. Very excited, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to introduce you to the president of our company, Mr. Mark Wilson. Mr. Mark Wilson's had an incredible career in our industry. Recently, as a vice president for a publicly traded company, came over to help Dr. Fred Cooper launch our company tonight, and he's going to be sharing with us tonight. And so we really just want to honor you, sir, for taking time away from your beautiful wife and family, and really do appreciate you sharing your thoughts and your vision for this incredible company. And maybe just to get us started, Mr. Wilson, if you wouldn't mind just spending a couple minutes and share a little bit about your personal background and your professional background, just so everybody on the call can get to know you a little bit. Thanks so much.
Oh, you bet. I would love to. And, in fact, it's a privilege to be on here tonight. We're having so much fun at ARIIX, and I can't believe how fast it's just moving along as we're working so hard, but having such success. And, I think as I think about my background, the last 20 years in this industry, and I've seen a lot of things out there. I've seen a lot of successes, and I've seen a lot of, unfortunately, failures, and there are reasons for each of those. And I think even with our failures, we learn and you watch. And with my my first real diving into this from a background standpoint, I went to work for a company that was $29 million in sales, and went up there and was helping them run their operations and their call center and different things. And I love the industry. I've always been a fan of this because it teaches the average person that employee mindset and shifts them to that entrepreneurial mindset. It really helps them with the basis, and it is the great equalizer, as Dr. Cooper talks about, where it gives the average person a chance to really do something great as an entrepreneur. And if we're not born into some family of that's well endowed, that says, look, I can set you up in your own franchise business, or you can take over the family business, most of us think we're supposed to just be employees. So for me, as coming from that average family, and my dad was in the military and my mom was a farm girl, and I learned how to work hard, but I realized that if I was going to get ahead, I needed to learn how to become an entrepreneur. So being a fan of the industry, and I went to work for that first company, I witnessed so many amazing stories of transformation where people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all education, were all coming together and becoming successful if they had two things, and that was tenacity and consistency. They were consistent in building their business, and they were tenacious about it. They let nothing get in their way. And to me, those were the two real key things that I could boil it down to over and over and over. It didn't matter where you came from. Sometimes you had to work a little harder, sometimes a little longer before you found your right people, but it always worked. And as I was with that company in 4 years that we grew, first year we went from $29 million to $100 million, and the next year from $100 to $200 million, and then $200 to $300 million, and then $350 before we ever started to slow down even a little bit. It was really exciting to watch that kind of growth and that momentum and the hope in people's minds, because they felt like there's a chance with this. My organization's growing and I'm moving forward. But I saw a few things that I wasn't really happy about from a standpoint of kind of the upfront integrity and the backgrounds of kind of the relationship, maybe is the best way to say it, with the field and the home office. And so I kind of moved on and did a few things out there, just consulting and having some fun. I found another company a few years later that one of my good friends was the CFO at, and he said, Mark, you got to come and check out this company, and we want you to come to work for them. And I thought, no, I'm my own boss. There's no way. After 6 months, they convinced me. The ironic thing is they were about in the same scenario. The year before, they had ended with $24 million in sales. They were just embarking on some growth again. With that company, over the last 15 years, grew to over $520 million in sales in 15 different countries. And with that growth and that experience, we had lots of ups and downs, but it was that tenacity and that consistency, again, that I kept seeing as we came through over and over and over. It didn't matter about the economy. It didn't matter, whether we had a shipping problem or products or comp plan changes. Everything was about the trust in the relationship with the home office and our field leaders. And I realized that really is the key to being successful in this industry. And unfortunately, over the years, I've seen some things that haven't been done quite as good, and I realized that there's a better way. And I think that's where ARIIX came into play, Tony, is we saw that it was finally time, that the roads were kind of heading in different directions. And for us, we realized, Dr. Cooper, myself, and a group of us realized that it was time to move in a new direction. And with that, we've been able to attract just some amazing, amazing people. We're so fortunate to have people like Tim Sales, like yourself. We have so many great leaders out there. Robert Allen, best-selling author, that's been, teaching entrepreneurialism for years and personal development, and Dr. Ray Strand, and the list goes on of individuals who are joining the cause and realizing that ARIIX really is a company that's going to stand alone, and that we're going to set some new industry trends in how you treat the distributor workforce and how you make sure that that partnership truly is a partnership and not just something that we talk about. And there's some very unique things there in the marketplace that we're going after.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I learned some new things about you just then. And, Mark, I'll always have a story to tell when it comes to you, because if you remember, about a month before we made a change in our career, a forced change, I sat down with you and was learning a little bit about this new company, and you told me and my wife about the Distributor Bill of Rights. And I'll never forget the first thing that came out of your mouth. You talked about, I think it was Distributor Bill of Right number 3, that a distributor has the right to protection and ownership. And who knew that discussion that we were having that day would turn into almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, because almost a month later, my wife and I came home from a great round of golf and read an email from our corporate attorney from the previous company that we were with that said we were terminated. And we vigorously tried to get on the phone with someone. No one ever gave us a chance to even talk about what happened. It was a silly thing. It was definitely not a non-terminable. It was a non-terminable offense, certainly in our opinion. But we never had a chance to even be heard. And that was a dozen years of our life. Literally, it went up in smoke. And so, of course, when that happened, the first thing I thought of was the conversation that we had with you. But why don't you just talk for just a moment, if you wouldn't mind, about a little bit more about ARIIX and the whole concept of the Distributor Bill of Rights.
Oh, I'd love to. And I remember that like it was yesterday, because I can still remember that discussion and you telling me how in love you were with the company and how you felt like this was a place you were going to be for a long time, and you'd put a lot of time and effort in it. And I think that's where our industry needs to step up. And we're not naive enough to think that everyone's going to join ARIIX. But what we are going to do for the industry, and we're already seeing a change, is we're going to make enough noise out there and create new standards. And competition is amazing, because if you can create the right competition, you can improve everything for the better. And for us, one of the gaping holes, one of the areas in this industry that is driven by some not good tendencies, and maybe the ugly word is greed, and people talk about greed in a lot of different phases, and we're even seeing people do marches right now about greed, and I think that it can be overblown sometimes as to individuals looking for opportunities out there and misread. But in this situation, it's a situation where if you really have a partnership, and I think about partnerships in anything, I think about marriage, I think about any kind of partnership. To really have a true partnership, you need to have a mutually beneficial agreement. It needs to be win-win for both parties. One of the things in the industry that our attorney said when we were putting together our policies and procedures, for example, was when I called him up, I said, look, I'm looking at your standard policies and procedures that you create for every company out there. And when I look at this, they're so one-sided. And he said, yeah, I know. And I said, well, okay, so why are you doing that? And he said, because that's what our clients expect us to do. They ask and they make us put it together that it's one-sided. And this is a compilation of years of experience in the industry. And I said, well, you know what? Fred and I are going to do this a little differently. We're going to create a policy and procedures that we hope our distributors will read, that they'll be proud of, and they'll actually use as a competitive advantage, because it'd be the first time in the industry that we've seen where someone actually is writing a policies and procedures that's fair for both sides. We need to promise certain things, and we need to expect certain things from you, and together we'll have a wonderful relationship that is truly a partnership. And from the basis of that, we created what we call the Bill of Rights. My years in this experience, I remember one of the instances. It's not quite as grave as what you and Marcia went through, Tony, but I was coming out of a compliance meeting. We had a top leader who had spent years building one of the top 10 incomes in the company I was with at the time. And we came out of a compliance situation, and for those of you who don't know what a compliance situation is, they violated something in their terms and their policies and procedures. And this person said to me, turned and he says, Mark, for the first time, I always thought this business was mine for a lifetime, that it was a legacy I would pass down. I just came to realize after that meeting that you guys could take this from me at any time you want, that it's really not my own business. And that hurt. That cut so deep, and I thought, that's just not exactly how we want this to be interpreted by one of our top income earners in the entire company. And we vowed that we would change that when we created ARIIX. So we created what we call the Bill of Rights, and those Bill of Rights are a compilation of certain things that you would say, gosh, that sounds reasonable. It should be my business. That you shouldn't just be able to terminate me without cause. And even with cause, who gets to determine whether that's fair or not? The great big company with all the money? Or is there some maybe justice system? So we created something that's the first in the industry to our knowledge, and that is, if someone ever gets to the point where they're to be terminated in ARIIX for cause, they have the right to appeal that to a jury of their peers, what we call the Founders Club, which will be the top leaders in the company. And they'll be able to go and appeal to them and say, I think the company's treated me unfairly. And if that group of distributors feel like that we have, we'll reinstate them. We don't know of anybody out there. It's pretty innovative, but at the same time, it's going to reset the standards that are out there. Other things that we have in our policies and procedures and in our Bill of Rights is the right to share in the profits. We feel like if you're going to help us build this company, you should have a right to help share in those profits as top leaders. So if you want to go after and build a big business in ARIIX, that not only should you be enriched from a compensation plan, but if you become one of our top income earners and builders, you have every bit as much a right as the Wilson family or the Yates family or the Timmer family or the Cooper family or any one of the owners of the original principals here to share in that for a lifetime. So we've gone through and we've just done things like that where we've talked about talking about product changes and compensation plan changes, that there are no surprises out there. If we're truly going to be partners, we need to really act and walk the talk. And so we created that Bill of Rights so that we would set the standards so that in years to come, when we're all sitting back in our rocking chairs and saying, wow, that was a good run, that the culture remains the same for your posterity and for your families as you're building something in this business. And that's something I'm sure we'll continue to grow and build on as we work and interact with our partners in the field.
I love it. I think that's great. It's definitely very unique, first of its kind that I've ever heard of in the industry, and I think it's a banner that people would be proud to pick up and carry and really just shout that from the mountaintops, because I think it's a very big competitive advantage that you've created with ARIIX. So appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Wilson, just talk a little bit about the products that we have today, kind of the vision of where we're going with our product mix. We'd love to hear from you on that.
Oh, exciting stuff. I'll tell you, we're just getting started. A lot of people, when they first met us, they said, well, okay, I understand you have the nutritional line and some of the products you have there. Is this what I have to work with? And as excited as we are about our products and how amazing the results are that we're hearing from these products, we are working fast and furious. In fact, literally right before I came in here, we were just working on a product that has to do with pure water. We've been working on the next product. I'll give you a little tip there since you're on the call tonight. We're working on a product called RestoreX, which is an incredible product. It'll be a powder form that you'll mix in a small glass of water or juice in the morning, and it is actually a detox product that is an amazing detox type product that will remove heavy metals, toxins from your body that you're getting through various different ways and means. It is, the technology behind it is just truly amazing, and it's a fun, great product that really is distinguishable between the things that are out there in the industry right now. We are working on a meal replacement, which will be part of our Healthy for Life program that Dr. Strand is working with us on. And those of you that were in Anaheim were able to taste test some of those new drinks and meal replacements, which are incredible. And we've gone above and beyond. They're not just a meal replacement. We've added enzymes. We've added 15 million probiotics to them on a daily basis so that you're getting your daily dose of the things you need and your family needs. My kids call them healthy shakes, and they love them. So not only are they getting those things and they're starting out the day right, or at lunchtime, you have this option here. If you're looking to lose a few pounds, there's a great way to do that, and we'll have programs designed around this. So we're really excited about some of the things we're doing. In the next year to maybe 2 years, you will see a skincare line. I was looking at some of the products and design on that This week, as a matter of fact, we'll be looking at healthy home products, safe cleaning products for the home. One of the things that I know Tim Sells is very passionate about, and he and Laura just champions on is the Healthy Baby Academy that will be coming in the future. So this is just a few of the products and different things that we're looking at as we're moving forward. We're really looking at this as you're starting an ARIIX boutique mall. And as you start that mall, you're going to have these specialty stores that you're going to be able to become passionate about. So maybe I'm really passionate about skincare, and I'm going to become a crusader on skincare because I just love it and I get so excited about it. Or somebody else may be really excited about weight loss and changing people's diet and overall results. I know Dr. Strand's done studies and tests where he's actually reversed type 2 diabetes just through a low glycemic program. And so we have all these amazing things that we'll be bringing out with you that will be attached with marketing campaigns by our top leaders who will teach you and help you understand how to market these programs to individuals who are interested, and it'll give you a nice wide breadth of products that you don't have to become experts on, but you'll certainly find your things that you're probably a little more passionate about to provide for your customer base and provide for your family and those that you're interested in. And all of these products are top-notch. We will not create anything that is not just first-rate and something that is completely organic. It has to be all natural. It has to be GMO-free. We're looking at all these things to make sure that you really have a product that you can be proud of and never be embarrassed of.
I love it. Boy, it pays to be on these conference calls. You get little inside information, so that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
One of the things, you're welcome. One of the things we decided and committed in the Bill of Rights actually is that we'll talk about these things. I worked for a company before that would keep it a secret, and then they'd surprise their leaders at these events. And while that's fun to surprise people, you're impacting folks' business. And if they hadn't, we want you to have time to think about these things and how you can strategize and how you can plan to build your business around these and customers that you're running into and other things that you're doing. So we're partners. And if partners are creating new products and services, or if there's things that need to change in our policies and procedures or our comp plan or anything, we need to make sure you're involved with us and helping us in the process, not creating difficulties for you in building your business.
That is such a refreshing philosophy. I love it. That's awesome. Mark, if you wouldn't mind, this is one of the things that really got me excited was the marketing plan, our compensation plan, very unique in the industry. A lot of people on the phone may not be familiar with residual income. Maybe if you could just talk for just a couple minutes about our exciting compensation plan.
I'd love to. In fact, this is probably the thing, because as an entrepreneur, I'm probably the most excited about. We went out and looked, and I challenged Dr. Cooper, who is a comp plan expert. I said, okay, we know all about the binary. We know all about the stair-step breakaways. We know all about the unilevel plans and the matrix plans and even traditional compensation, that people are being employed at. And I want you to take a look at these, and all of them have virtues and all of them have vices. There's good and bad in each of these, and so let's take as many of those virtues as we can and eliminate as many of those vices as we can in all those different plans. And we came up with a multi-line compensation plan, and it is truly revolutionary. And people scoff at me a little bit, and they go, oh, yeah, I've heard that before. There's new comp plans. This is probably just some hybrid of something in the past. And when they truly look at our compensation plan, every single time they're just amazed, because they look at it and say, wow, this gives me the ultimate flexibility to build my business through my style, but reward me for the right behaviors of actually building my business. And we've corrected the problems where, some people who have built in the past, if you have any experience and you're on this phone call tonight and maybe you've built a unilevel plan. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. If you're the first time to this industry, it's just different ways of compensation to individuals. And we looked at all those different ways and we said, let's correct those and make it as simple as we possibly can and still rewarding people. And I think the thing that I'm most proud of is the uniqueness of making sure that the little guy just getting started in his business creates a win early on. With as few as 4 people that you bring into this business, you start to break even or at least cover the cost of what you're spending on your product expense on a monthly basis. Now think about that. That is something that's just, to me, unheard of. And in the industry, we have people out there saying, well, you got to find 28 people in certain compensation plans with juice companies. And, one company I came from, it was 12 to 13 people before you break even and cover the cost of your expense. Well, we never bragged about that. We never talked about it, because if you went up to the average person and said, go find a dozen people, go find 28 people, and you'll cover the cost of your product and monthly expenses that you're using in your products. And certainly there's value in your products, but when people are looking at a budget standpoint and they're saying, if I want to work and build the business, what's it going to take till I can start generating revenues and profits? Well, when you talk about those kind of numbers, that becomes a little difficult for the average person to believe in that. But when you talk about 4 people and you talk about you start to earn and create a residual with as few as a half a dozen people, and you start to build your business and you see that success, now there's a belief level, and we did that purposely to make sure that our leaders who are going to go out and sponsor lots of people are actually investing in the folks who are just getting started in their business, because we believe that investment is a wise investment in the future. And so we have some very unique pieces to our compensation plan that are unheard of, and you really need to take a good look at this and think about how powerful this compensation plan is there. And that's one of the biggest reasons why so many people are coming to ARIIX, is because they understand that they really can't compete in their traditional compensation plans like the ARIIX comp plan.
Yeah, it's amazing. Certainly I'll wrap up and give the guest a couple of ideas that they need to do in terms of finding out more about that. But if you wouldn't mind, as we kind of wrap up tonight, talk a little bit about the importance of timing vis-a-vis the ARIIX opportunity. We're a company now, just about 100 days old, and there's a lot of people that may not understand what that means exactly. So if you could draw that out, that would be terrific.
Oh, I'd be happy to. We're in what we would consider still in pre-launch. We started quite early, and a typical company would not even be open yet. Their doors would not even be open, and we decided that we had so many excited people that we'd open the doors a little bit. So we're still getting things figured out and still working on many things, like our product line and the many things we're working on, to really make this the company we all envision it being someday. But I'll tell you the excitement that's going on right now. When you're literally attracting thousands of individuals from around the world, it has been amazing to us, and the timing could not be better. In this economic time, people are looking for an opportunity. They're looking for something where they can really trust and believe in. There's a lot of skepticism because there's a lot of plans out there that are not working, and they promise the world. We're promising that if you'll work hard and you'll build a business and you work with your teams, you will be successful in this plan. And that comes back to those 2 things I told you, tenacity and consistency. And if you'll stick with it, we really are rewarding people like no other. We've had individuals, leaders that spent 8 years building businesses that in a matter of 6 weeks were replacing their income. We've had people who had 15 years and they're probably 30 days away from replacing their income now after 100 days. So does it work? Absolutely it works. And people who had never done this business before are finding out that they can actually go out and build a business that will reward them because the products work. They make a difference. You feel a difference on the products, and as you're using these and you see the compensation and what we're doing, it is truly the time that you want to get involved. Now, you can sit back and you can say, well, I'm going to watch and see how successful people are, and it's a startup, and I've heard all of those things. This is not our first rodeo. We've been doing this for a long time, and while the company may be new, the experience we have is unmatched. To have the individuals not only in the field, the experts that we've brought in, the influencers that we have, the management team, this is a very well-seasoned and experienced team who know how to build this and know how to build it right. We are growing faster than I could ever imagine. We'll have an announcement coming out this week about we just acquired another competitor of ours that actually the leaders all came to us and said, we can't compete, and join forces with us, which will be opening a couple of new countries just because of this, because we're taking over their offices. And I'll be flying overseas to go visit some of those brand new ARIIX members this next week. So it's an exciting time when you see what's happening with a little startup company in Bountiful, Utah, that is literally setting records. We have nearly 20,000 representatives already. We were able to get a license in China, which was unheard of. People said, it takes 3-5 years, even if you're lucky, and spend tens of millions of dollars. Because of our relationship, someone heard about us and sought us out, and we formed a strategic alliance there that is just amazing. And we'll be open in Mexico by the end of the year. which we have so much excitement and energy down there. Our Thailand office will be open here in November. So not only are we in Hong Kong and we're in China and we're in the United States and we're able to do business through an NFR program in Canada, we now will be open by the beginning of the year in Mexico and Thailand, and I'll give you those other countries, Japan and Taiwan. And so we're so excited because things are moving so fast. And this is one of those opportunities where you're going to look back if you don't get involved and say, oh, I should have been involved sooner. And we've all had those. We've all had those, oh, I wish I would have sooner. And I think this is one of those things that I would implore you to really take a good, solid look at this and talk to the person and see what's going on, because this is something that truly I've never seen come together the way it has, with the talent pool we're gathering, with the partnerships that are coming together just in amazing ways at just lightning speed.